Hello and welcome to Granny Mo's Bookshelf. Today we're going to read No Rosina by Patricia Miles Martin, illustrated by Earl Thollander. No Rosina. 1964. The time Rosina liked the best was 3:30 in the morning. That was when the shouting started in her family. "Up," said Mama. "Everybody up. Breakfast will be ready before you're dressed." "Hit the deck," said Luigi. "Rise and shine," said Carlo. "Up," shouted Papa. "We have work to do." "And may you have good luck and a good catch today," said Mama. As long as Rosina could remember, she had wanted to go with her father and brothers on their fishing boat, which sailed from Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco Bay. Every winter from November to early spring they went for crabs. Often she heard them tell about it. There, out in the sea beyond the Golden Gate, were their own crab traps, crab pots they were called, and orange-colored floats that marked the water where they lay deep at the bottom of the ocean. But every time she asked to go see for herself, Papa said no. "Why can't I?" she cried. "I could help." Papa always said no. And Papa always said, "No, Rosina, it's not a question of helping. I've had enough help. I have enough helpers. I have the uncle. And when there is no school, I have Luigi and Carlo." Rosina thought about Luigi and Carlo, lucky big brothers who went out with their father on Saturdays and for the whole of winter vacation week, unless they had work to do on the wharf. "Oh, that's the Cliff House in San Francisco. That's cool. I've been there." But she, Rosina, a fisherman's daughter who was named for the most beautiful fishing boat in the fleet, had never once been to sea. And now vacation week would soon be over, and she would be back in school, so Rosina asked the same old question. "Papa, can I go?" Papa shouted again. "You ask again?" He reached towards the ceiling. "The little one asks again. Your place is at home," Mama said. "But when Luigi and Carlo are gone, I'm lonesome," Rosina said. "Cheer up," said Carlo. "Next week we'll all be back in school." "But what about now?" Rosina asked. No, Rosina," said Luigi. "A fishing boat is no place for a girl. A woman on a fishing boat brings bad luck," Papa shouted. "But she's such a small woman. Maybe she wouldn't count," said Carlo. While she ate her breakfast, Rosina thought about the talk of the morning. This time, when she asked Papa to go, at least he had not said no, at least not exactly. When she had eaten, she slipped her woolliest sweater on and went out to smell the fog. Lights in the little windows along their street shone dimly, and down at the end of the street was Fisherman's Wharf, where the fishing fleet nodded sleepily in its lagoon. Then Rosina knew what she must do. She must show Papa that she wouldn't bring bad luck. Quickly, quietly, she would go aboard the Santa Rosa. Papa and her brothers were still at the table. She listened a moment to be sure, and then she ran along the sidewalk straight to the wharf. There in the early morning fog, the Santa Rosa waited, nudging the ladder that led down from the dock. Rosina swung down and stepped aboard. She looked around for a place to hide. On the deck was a big, square, wooden crab box, all ready for the day's catch, and inside the cabin was an old coat on a hook, almost as though it was waiting for Rosina. She stepped in behind it, and its folds covered her. The wharf was waking. The fishermen were calling to each other. "Where is Giuseppe?" one asked, and Rosina heard her uncle's answer. "He had engine trouble. He can't go today." Then Papa and Uncle were aboard. "Warm the motor," Papa shouted. Rosina felt a shiver of the Santa Rosa. Luigi and Carlo were coming down the ladder with packages of squid for bait. "All ready," shouted Papa. He backed the Santa Rosa from the berth, and they chugged from the lagoon into the bay, and on under the Golden Gate Bridge and out into the ocean. Finally, Papa shouted, "Here's our trap line." The boat rocked in the water, and they were bringing up the first crab pot. "Lots of crabs," Luigi said. This was the time for Rosina. "Guess who's here?" she said. "We have a stowaway," said Carlo. "It's a little crab named Rosina," Luigi said. Papa opened his mouth to shout, but no words came. He lifted his hands to the sky. He held his head. He was very angry. Rosina spoke loudly to be heard above the noise of the sea. "I wanted to show you that I wouldn't bring you bad luck." Her father found his voice. "I will talk to you about this later." And he turned to Uncle. "Radio is sure to tell Mama that we have Rosina." And he looked at Luigi and Carlo. "Why do we stand here and do nothing?" he shouted. "We have work to do." Luigi emptied the crabs into the wooden box. "They look small," said Carlo. "They are small," said Uncle. "Not one is big enough to keep." "See what happened?" shouted Papa. "There may have been 20 or 30 crabs. Big crabs, maybe. Perhaps the next crab pot will be full of big ones." Uncle threw the little crabs back into the sea. Luigi reached for the squid and bait to empty the pot. Uncle dropped the crab pot into the sea, where it sank to the bottom below its marker. They chugged on to the second float. Luigi and Carlo, handsome in slickers, hats, and rubber boots, brought up the second crab pot. On the ocean, there were many orange-colored floats. So many, Rosina thought, more than 100. Papa had said so. Through the mist were other fishing boats, dozens and dozens of boats working with their own crab traps. Seagulls flew low overhead, and the green frothy waves struck the side of the boat. Rosina tasted the salt spray. Over San Francisco, the sky grew pink. She wondered what they would find in the second crab pot. Perhaps Papa would forget to be angry if they had a good catch. When the crab pot was pulled aboard, Rosina saw a few small crabs inside the wire cage. Papa groaned loudly. "Look at them," he said. "Not one is big enough to keep." Carlo tossed the little crabs back into the ocean. "I see a bottle riding a wave," he said. "It's a corked bottle, and it's coming this way." Luigi grabbed a hand net and waited until he could scoop it out of the sea. There was a paper inside. He pulled a small roll of paper from the neck of the bottle. "I am a fisherman's son," it read. "I live in Monterey. The boy gives his name and his age. Will you write to me? He signs it, your friend." "Out of the sea we find a pen pal," said Papa, "and we return home with a catch of one friend." Papa was still very angry. Nothing but foolishness here today. The boat churned on through the sea to the third marker. Luigi and Carlo brought up the crab pot. "These looked better," said Uncle. Quickly he and Papa sorted them out. 23 large crabs, Papa shouted. It was the same with the fourth trap and the fifth. All morning they worked. The big crabs went into the square wooden crab box, and the little ones were tossed into the sea. Each time the crab pot was baited with squid and lowered over to the side, where it sank deep into the water beneath its float. "Tomorrow our crab pots will be full again," Rosina said. "We have good luck today." Papa didn't answer. Carlo spoke softly. "Look at all the crabs, Papa. For whatever reason, we have a good catch." She brought no bad luck. When the last crab pot was raised, it was filled with big, fine crabs. "And we've got another stowaway," said Carlo. "An octopus," said Rosina. "An octopus for supper." She looked at Papa. "Today you caught hundreds and hundreds of crabs, an octopus, found a letter in a bottle," and thought of the boy in Monterey. "How old was the boy in the letter?" "He's 13, said Luigi. "Then Carlo will send the answer," Rosina said. Papa spoke Already, Rosina's giving orders. I only give the orders here. And he pointed a finger to Carlo. Yes, you will write the boy and wish him good luck and good fishing. There's the Golden Gate Bridge. I've driven over that too. When the fog cleared entirely and the sun was high up in the blue sky, they headed for the wharf with the wooden crab box was full. Rosina knew that she could never again ask Papa to go on the Santa Rosa. This was a day that she would always remember. She would always enjoy it to the last minute. She waved to the other fishermen and the fishing boats, and she waved at a party boat as it passed. When they reached home, Papa talked with her. At the end of his talk, he said, "Now you will speak with Mama." "I'm sorry," Rosina said to Mama. "I'll never go anywhere, not even with Papa and Luigi and Carlo, without telling you first." "Good," said Mama. "We will forget that you have done this." Rosina didn't really want to forget. She was dreaming of crabs and the salt sea, the smell of the salt, and the smell of the sea when the alarm clock rang the next morning. She jumped out of bed, pulled on her blue jeans. "Rise and shine! Hit the deck! Breakfast will be ready before you're up. Up, Luigi, up, Carlo." No, Rosina," said Luigi. "Not Carlo and me. You will hit the deck," said Carlo. "Luigi, I don't have to get up until it's light. We're going to help Giuseppe fix his engine." Again, Rosina would be home alone. Already, she felt a little lonely. "Cheer up," said Carlo. "Mama is going to let you go once more on the Santa Rosa with Papa." Rosina was too happy to talk. She put on Luigi's slicker. She wore Carlo's hat. Papa was shouting, "Fix a good lunch, Mama," he said, patting her on the top of Carlo's hat. "Fix a good lunch for me and my crew." The end. That was No Rosina. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.